Hi peeps. It is kind of bad weather here. Our first real bad weather of stepping into winter here. And it's been unseasonably warm and just really weird. But today we're having some freezing rain, which is turning into snow. Kind of on high alert for power outages, etc. So it's very dark in here. So I do have both the ring light on and an overhead light, which is a little bit weird for me. I don't like using the ring light, and it makes it difficult to show some of the card images. So I may have to adjust lighting as we get into the video itself, but it's one of those days. It's almost Thanksgiving here in the States, and so we're gonna snuggle up with a nice cup of tea. Let's take a little sip. Although I have to say, I've been having a really big craving for hot chocolate, so I don't know, I might have to have some hot chocolate at some point today. But it's almost Thanksgiving here in the States, and I am a very busy bee doing year ahead readings and regular client readings as well. And I've noticed some really beautiful and intriguing pairings with decks as I am really getting into the how would I say that? The meat of the work of the year ahead readings. They're very long form readings, and so it's always fascinating to see what decks end up being the ones that really want to share, you know, a 365-day amount of information with specific clients. And some of the decks that have come forward I haven't really worked with in a little bit, and so connecting with them in this way has been really refreshing. And I'm going to start with, well, now I'm like, ring light here. What do we start with that? So I won't have to do too much editing. We'll start here. So also, I'm in the middle of rearranging things. If you're on Patreon with me, then you know that one of my friends and a local healer in town, she has a truck, and so she helped me get my couch in. So I've just been trying to rearrange and set things up in a specific way that's going to work for us in the space. So I have a little living room space, so there's things everywhere. Please forgive me for that, guys, but going on in the background, I should say. But I want to start with the Ritual Tarot. I took a little bit of a break from her after the summer, but oh my goodness, has she come forward for some of the year ahead readings in such a powerful way. So this is the Ritual Tarot by Tiera. This is an independently produced deck. I will try and remember to put the link down below. But this deck is so beautiful. It's so kind of opulent and lush. And well, it's the Ritual Tarot. I mean, it's very evocative of ritual, be it occult ritual, Catholic ritual. There's a heavy art history element to this deck. And it's very focused on, that's my hanged man, but he's upside down. It's excuse me, not very focused on, it's very much a collage style deck. But this deck just takes me places. I love this deck so much. It's probably in my top 5 of all time decks, which yes, that's coming to the channel next month, don't worry. And using this for the year ahead readings, it's really come forward for energy of individuals who are exploring depth of connection in their spiritual journeys, those who are really focused on their spiritual path in 2025. And so this deck has really come forward in that way. So it's had a very spiritually focused, heavy theme that way. And it's paired very well with the Messenger Oracle by Ravyn Phelan. And I was not expecting to use this deck. I just did a recent Dark Confessions video. Sorry guys, I'm gonna try to shift it so you can't see the ring light reflection there. But this, the Messenger Oracle clarifies the Ritual Tarot so beautifully, and this very it's an odd coupling. I wasn't expecting it, but it happened and we went with it. And it's absolutely gorgeous together. The conversation that these two decks are able to have. So, so, so beautiful. And really, again, unexpected. Maybe that's what I'll call this video, unexpected pairings. Because I have a few decks where I'm like, oh, I wasn't thinking that they were going to communicate very well together. But they actually really bring different perspectives And even though the artwork is not harmonious, the juxtaposition of the artwork almost assists you to get to a different level of clarity, have fresh insight. And so I was thinking in your spiritual practice, you know, kind of in sharing this in this video is my hope to encourage you to pull some different vibes in for yourself with decks, so that you can have fresh perspective in your practice as well, and so that you can really feel like you're getting the most out of your card work. And I have noticed this year, a lot of us are really feeling called to deepen into a level of devotion and dedication in our spiritual practice as we move into the energy of 2025, which is from my side of things, like very exciting. So if you are feeling that call too, you want to be more dedicated to your spiritual practice, you want to feel more fulfilled and connected around it, try some unexpected couplings with tarot and oracle, and allow the oracle card to flesh out what you are receiving for a core or main message from your tarot deck. It's really, really beautiful. And so these two are pretty high up there for me of like, wow, I can't believe how beautifully they've worked together. So that's like, those two are right up there at the top for me as far as, oh, unexpected pairing. They work really, really well together. So another coupling that I want to talk about, it's a little less unexpected than those two because they're so different in their feel. But another coupling I want to talk about is the Witch Sister Tarot and Kim Krans Spirit Animal Oracle. First of all, I have a new student, who has just started, and we are using the Witch Sister Tarot together. And so I've really had to go back to the guidebook to root some of our focus in our work on the very specific way of working with some of the cards in the Witch Sister Tarot by Julia Jeffrey. That guidebook is so freaking amazing. If you have this deck and you feel called to pull this deck out and work with it, oh, just that guidebook. I mean, I've been doing personal journaling myself off of this deck, and I had this deck on vacation except for readings. So from a personal growth perspective, that guidebook and the Witch Sister Tarot together are just absolutely stunning. But from a unexpected coupling perspective, the Witch Sister Tarot with Kim Krans Spirit Animal Oracle really give you a sense of like power and actionable steps and practice in your path. So I've found these two decks work very well together for here's what's going on, here's how to amplify or reduce, release this energy. So these two together have worked really, really well for that. Again, working with tarot as the main deck, getting the main meat of the message from the Witch Sister Tarot, and then clarifying that message with the Spirit Animal Oracle by Kim Krans. I really didn't want to love the Spirit Animal Oracle, but it has just really grown on me. It's really, really grown on me. It just has. It's really grown on me. So this is Kim Krans Spirit Animal Oracle. And I mean, you can see in a way the color theme, it's a little bit of a clash there. So that's why it's still a little bit unexpected, but it does clarify messages very well. And not only that, but I think the Spirit Animal Oracle gives you a real sense of support. So if you need the guidance, the clarifying guidance of the Spirit Animal Oracle, but you also want to feel a sense of support and connection from the messages that come through in a deck, I think that this one is a wonderful option for that. It's just such a lovely, lovely deck. And again, it was popular, so I didn't want to love it, but I really do love it. And this is another one where in your personal practice, pulling out that guidebook is going to give you a slightly unexpected perspective on the messages that are coming through with this one. So this is another one, just like the Witch Sister Tarot, excuse me. I would say definitely check out that guidebook. Just give it a quick once over, especially if you're doing a spiritual path focused spread. That's going to give you a new perspective and some new, again, actionable steps in your path to take, in your practice, in your way of being that will assist and support your work. So that is the second unexpected coupling. My next unexpected pairing, we need a little sip of tea, is the Goddess of Love Tarot, which I had lost. I lost her. I don't know if I talked about this on the channel or just with a client, because I was doing a reading for a client last week and I really wanted to use this deck and I couldn't find it anywhere. And I had to use the Metamuse Tarot instead, which I have some new thoughts on the Metamuse Tarot. I did an unboxing recently and I wasn't 100% sure how I was feeling about it, but it's a really good reader. So anyhow, I had to use the Metamuse Tarot for that reading, and I was like, oh man, where is my Goddess of Love Tarot? Like, I actually have to buy another copy if I can't find it, but thankfully I found it. So she's been in a lot of my year ahead readings. So this is Gaby Herstik's Goddess of Love Tarot. This is another collage style deck, and it's crafted in honor of Venus and Aphrodite, and it's all about sacred sensuality, sacred sexuality, and connecting with the sacred feminine in regards to embodied practice. So it's really beautiful for reading with when you're looking to connect with your senses, to tap back into the sacred feminine, to feel yourself as an emanation of the divine, as the embodied divine, and deepening into that. It's also a great deck for witches, I think, when it comes to your magical practice. I really like using this deck in ritual and spell crafting. It just lends itself very well to that. And it's always a very juicy, lusty reading when I work with this deck, whether that's for clients or for myself. But my unexpected pairing as far as artwork goes is Goddess of Love Tarot with the Le Vampire Oracle. The artwork clashes a little bit, but what I really like is we have the lust of the Goddess of Love Tarot, the sensuality, the voluptuousness of the Goddess of Love Tarot, with this kind of clarifying crone energy of the Le Vampire Oracle, which is very grounding in that it shows you a shadow perspective. This has really become a predominantly shadow work deck for me, and for clients and for myself. It flows with the Goddess of Love Tarot very well, and so it isn't only a shadow work deck, but I like the grounded clarification. So I have a first edition with a very shiny cardstock, so I'm going to try to work around the ring light here so I don't have to edit and do that whole process, especially since I'm probably going to lose power any minute. But this deck is really, it's really special. This is a special deck. Maybe I'll do a Dark Confessions video on this one again, because I use this deck all the time, and it's one that you would think you'd only use every once in a while, but I really do use this deck all the time. It's always out for work. I don't always use it personally, but in readings, there's almost always a space in a reading where I can just turn to this deck and get some insight into something that maybe my client doesn't want to see or acknowledge, but like we need to address in their story, in their experience, in their craft, whatever the focus is of the reading. This deck really lends itself well to that. So I like the kind of reality check that this gives the magic and the mystery of the Goddess of Love Tarot. They pair really well together. Again, similar to what I was saying about Witch Sister and Spirit Animals, from that like earth path, actionable steps, what can I do here in my experience? These two decks work really, really well together. So I recommend giving them a little try together and just see how it plays out, especially if you're looking to feel more connected to the sacred feminine in your practice. That's a really beautiful pairing. So the last deck I want to talk about in regards to kind of, how do I want to say that? The last deck that I want to talk about in regards to unexpected ways of working with the deck. This is not going to be a pairing. This is because, you know, I don't like even numbers anyhow. So, you know, we would have been too even. So we're going to even it out with the number 7 here. Is Kim Krans Archetypes Oracle. You know, when I purchased this deck, I wasn't sure at first. I mean, I knew that I loved her. This is the pocket edition, by the way. I use the larger size in my personal practice. The pocket edition is just much easier to maneuver and work with in client readings. I found two really powerful ways of working with this deck from a professional perspective. It gives very clear insight into an archetypal energy that my client is working with, either if I'm doing a general reading on a 3 to 6 month scale, if I'm doing a yearly outlook over that 12-month period. This deck really sinuously, let's use a word that I love that I don't get to use that often, very sinuously is able to tease out a theme that may be underlying a conscious theme in my client's journey. And it's very exciting to have it so it's succinct, but it's expansive, the way the archetypal energy comes forward with this deck. And so I really like to crown a reading, to start a reading with that kind of umbrella energy from which we are then going to expand into the nitty gritty, if you will. And this deck really creates that space. It really creates kind of it's not a structure, because I feel like it's more air element. It creates a conversation, a doorway, a portal. There we go, a portal, a way in to then accessing the more human daily life, earth path aspect of the journey. And also the artwork in this deck is just gorgeous. And I do think that the shape lends itself well to encouraging you to kind of think outside of the box. And not all the archetypes, or what I really love about this deck is that it's not a hearts and rainbows cutesy archetypes thing like, oh, embrace your inner femme fatale. No, it's really grounded in archetypes that have a shadow aspect, so that you can be clear about, if you're in the underworld, where am I within this catabasis? And the Pocket Archetypes Oracle is really, really special that way. So I like to use it as that overarching theme to see what a core archetypal energy that my client or myself is working with. I also really like it for shadow work from a perspective of, what is that catabasis? The Archetypes Oracle holds a really beautiful space for making art out of your shadow world. To me, it takes wherever you're working with in shadow at this time, and it makes it into art. And from that space, you can approach a way into your shadow work a bit lighter, instead of feeling that it's this heavy thing that you're going to drown in. I think this deck gives you an opportunity to exhale and ease into dialogue around your shadow work, your shadow journey, and what you're stepping into there. And a final thing I would recommend this deck for is, if you want to do inner temple work, journey work, astral travel, this deck, the cards are beautiful portals to step into journey work and astral travel from that perspective. So if you're looking for a deck to help facilitate that part of your spiritual practice, the Pocket Archetypes is amazeballs for that. So these are some of my thoughts on decks as we traverse through year ahead outlooks, whether you're doing them for yourself or you purchased one from a reader you trust out there in the world. I love, again, I always find new ways to appreciate my decks this time of year, because it's like, wow, I would not have put that together consciously. But before a reading, I tap into, I kind of sit here and I feel out into, okay, what decks are coming forward for each client. So each client gets their own set of decks in any reading that I'm working with. And for my year aheads, I do have a few anchors. The Pocket Archetypes Oracle, the Witches Tarot Majors only are my anchors this year. But other than that, all other decks end up being fluid and are chosen intuitively for each client. So I always get my comfort zone expanded around my card work this time of year, because it's like I never would have used the Messenger Oracle with the Ritual Tarot from a conscious place, but it came forward in an offering and it was so bang on, and it was so easy to interpret and translate the messages. And it was really, really exciting, and it inspired this video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed hanging out with me for a little bit. Hope you had a nice cup of tea or a cup of hot chocolate or coffee, and you're staying warm and snuggly if it's cold where you are. If it's hot where you are, I hope you have like an iced tea or something that's keeping you nice and chill. I am sending you guys, as always, oceans of love, and you know I will see you in the next video. Take care.